Thank you for joining me today. This is going to be a brief overview of my expectations for your student and for your child and my student during all of our virtual sessions. So we're talking explicitly about the use of Zoom and what I intend to see and what to expect, as it were, from your child during our time together online. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to go over some of the expectations, which you should see on screen. The first being that your child, when logging into Zoom, is expected to have their camera on and remain on throughout the entirety of the lesson. This is to prevent any potential issues wherein a student will log in and then walk away from their computer, missing a good majority of the lesson. And if I can't see them on camera, I just make the assumption that they're not actually present, which was the case in the launch of distance learning, in which some students became very comfortable in signing into my classes, turning their cameras off and not having realized that they were walking away, not engaged in the lessons. And so by the time it came to assessments or any kind of project, they were considerably behind their peers. And so to prevent that, the expectations for me is to have the student present throughout the entirety of our time together online. Let's go ahead and take a look at my second expectation. This expectation is quite simple. It's that when your student arrives into our virtual session, they are dressed appropriately and they are in an area where work is the goal. This should be a desk. It should have a flat surface of some kind, a table, a coffee table, so long as it's something that they're able to use in order to write and to address some of the problems we may be engaged in during our class. They should also be wearing clothes that are public space appropriate. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be wearing their school uniforms, by no means. I still would like them to be comfortable. However, they should not be in pajamas or casual wear or lounge wear, as it were, as it does tend to put students in a very casual mindset, and it does give them more of a relaxed, less serious attitude towards the work we're going to be engaged in. And so to avoid that and to mitigate that as a potential issue, I ask that when they are signing in and they're ready to start their day, they're dressed appropriately, they're sitting at a desk or an area with a flat, hard surface. My third expectation: they should have all of their materials ready and available prior to starting their online class. Meaning they should have writing tools, a notebook, and those writing tools can be varied. It can be crayons, it can be pencils, pens, etc. They should always have their notebook, and again, using that desk or that hard surface, they should be able to find a space during our time together to keep their materials organized. They don't have to be a fixed solution. It could be, because I understand some families in transition have different parts of the house that become available throughout the day, depending on the day, but they should have a kit of some kind or a toolbox which they can use and grab and transport their materials day to day or home to home, or whatever the scenario. So when they are ready to sit at a surface, at a desk, and to begin the work, they have all their materials available, similar to the way that they would in a backpack. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about these expectations. 1, their cameras will remain on throughout the entirety of the lesson. 2, they should be dressed appropriately as though they're ready to work or enter a public space. And they should also be at a desk or in an environment that is conducive to work. So a hard surface, preferably one in which, if there's a television present, the television is off in order to create a more focused environment. In addition to that, they should have their materials ready before they sign in, and they should have some kind of system for organizing those materials and keeping them together so they're not constantly on the hunt for them. So that was just a very brief overview of my simple expectations for your child during our time together online. I will continue to produce these how-to and update videos to ensure that you are informed and we're consistent on message, considering that these videos are essentially fixed and can be referred back to through a virtual session that we may have had scheduled and you may not have been able to attend. We can at least have these videos as a reference point, or as a system of reference, excuse me. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in our Zoom session.